Welcome back to another video with your favorite lock doc, Miss Jazzy. This video is going to be an example of how I have done an overhaul on lock extensions that we also started. So an overhaul is actually a technique that I invented, I want to say. It was probably being done forever, but I just realized it was really necessary in the desert because a lot of people get excessive amounts of frizz no matter what their hair texture is. But I did notice that when I'm cleaning up locks, I wanted to take it a step further. Not just to maintain them at the root or make them nice and neat at the root, but I also wanted them to be nice and neat the whole way down. So if I touched your lock, I want people to be able to tell I touched your lock. And also, just to give you guys a little bit of background, my family is mixed. So I know and love some amazing hippies and grew up with them. And so because my household, we didn't all have the same hair texture, I was able to get very, very familiar with how other hair textures tangled, and also the flexibility in the scalp and in the individual hair follicle, the strength of the hair follicles, depending on their length and texture. So yeah, thank you, family. I appreciate you all and love you guys too. So that is why I am doing these lock extensions on, this gentleman is actually Mexican, so on curly hair, we would call it. It's not kinky, it's curly, so it would be considered like a 3A maybe. So it's a very loose curl, but he definitely has a curl. So to me, when it comes to locks, that translates to straight hair extensions. So yes, this gentleman does have lock extensions that I installed. I, meaning the Jazzy Braidz team, who I trained on how to install. I'm not the only one who had the pleasure of hanging out with this gentleman. And we do that for a reason, because I don't want to hold you hostage and have you sitting here all day long. The lock extensions process can take a while, especially when you have as many locks as this gentleman does. I think he is in the neighborhood of about 75, probably a little less than that, but overestimating a bit at 75. He didn't want them to be long, and that's completely fine. You can still get lock extensions and not have hair down the crack of your behind, just because they're extensions. You can get them the length and thickness that you're wanting and not go through the quote-unquote ugly phase. That's something that can be done with the lock extension. So these set of lock extensions have been in his head for probably about 6 months at this point. So we started off short, and we only did a 6-inch extension, but I feel like it fits his frame very well. Also, the colors were done with the install. So he already had highlights and lowlights. We matched up those extensions and then took them up a notch. So you see the platinum pieces, we definitely amplified the color he already had going on, because why not? If you're going to do it to the best of your ability, and do it as well as you possibly can. So with this client and with this service, as his locks are young, that means they are still forming a core. This is why we did the interlock at the root. That's going to assist with the core of his lock, or the solid portion of his lock. It's also going to help with the structure. He wanted neat, which is why he got lock extensions. I take all of that into consideration. So being that he wanted neat, I want it to be as neat as possible. So I interlock the root and then crochet all the way to the very end of the lock. That's going to be about 8 inches away from the scalp consistently, so that I can get a very consistent and overall neat look. I'm not going to get every single hair in place, because that's what dreads are, okay? They're just organized tangles. However, I can absolutely do the best of my ability and manually tangle every single lock with each maintenance, actually. So for my clients who have the same texture, most of the time we'll do an overhaul, which means I'm only going to see you about 3 or 4 times a year, but we're going to be hanging out for about 3 to 4 hours each time. So we're going to have a good amount of time to play catch up and recap the holidays and birthdays and all the other special days that we haven't been able to hang out. So it's a very good service, and I like it for that reason, because I get to make sure that my client is feeling secure and neat from root to tip. If you don't want your locks to be flat, then you don't want to do the interlocking portion of this maintenance. You just want to crochet. But I definitely qualify my client and make sure that the look that they're wanting in the end is what we're going for. So when we do the consultation, that is what gives me the guidance as to which direction to go to with your maintenances, and I prepare him for this when we're doing the consultation for the initial install of the lock extensions, to let him know what he's in for about 3 to 4 times a year, depending on just how neat he wants them to be. So initially you're going to maintain a lot more, and as we get further away from your lock start date, you'll be able to maintain less and maintain the confidence that you had when you finished your previous maintenance, because it's going to hold that much longer, and your dreads are going to know what to do and how to get the look that you're going for. So these are the things that we would be able to not only do for you, but also we teach you how to do these things. So if you're a part of our team and you're booth renting, then these classes would be free to you. But if you are also going to be visiting us virtually, we'd be able to go into how to do each step. And we do in-person classes as well. And you can find that information at jazzybraidz.com. And if you have questions, you can always call or text us. That is completely okay. Sometimes we need to update our information on jazzybraidz.com, or you're wanting to add to a wait list on a class that's getting ready to start very soon. See if we can squeeze in one more to our in-person classes or something like that. Do not hesitate to give us a call or shoot us a text. That is all right, and we encourage it. So we will either talk to you soon or we'll see you in person. Have a wonderful day, and thank you for taking a look at our educational video regarding dreads and dread extensions.